Welcome to the episode of the Motorvait Supplier Showcase. I'm Neil Smith, CEO of Motorvait Automotive Consultancy, and in this series, I'm sitting down with the innovators behind the UK's most exciting automotive businesses, whether they're game-changing startups, industry disruptors, or established legends. We'll be diving into the latest digital and physical products currently shaking up the UK vehicle retail space. If it's making waves, we'll be covering it. My guest this week is James Leese, Managing Director of Impel, a business which provides AI-powered, personalised engagement at every stage of the customer lifecycle, turning automotive shoppers into buyers. Welcome to the podcast, James.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, Neil.
No problem at all. Now, James, I've known you for a number of years, back to when you were at Mannheim and organised a trip to NADA for me and the guys at Imperial to New Orleans on behalf of Cox Automotive. That was 2014, and I'm pretty certain we had a pretty good time. Can't remember a lot of it, James, but I'm sure we did. To enable our viewers to get to know you a little better, a regular feature of this podcast series is the guest icebreaker. So please tell us 3 interesting facts about yourself, 2 of which are true and 1 that isn't. We'll then let the viewers ponder this during the podcast, and I'll ask you to reveal which are true and which is false at the end.
Perfect. Okay, so 3 facts. Perhaps one of them should be I've got photos of that event we went to at New Orleans.
I hope not. I really hope not.
So 3 facts about me. So 1, I blagged my way into Glastonbury and ended up on the pyramid stage with the Manic Street Preachers. 2, I played golf with Nick Faldo and managed to beat him. And 3, I had a night out drinking with Matt Goss from Bros, and then we ended up clubbing in Miami.
Okay, I can believe all 3, and just taking those references, you've got to be a similar age to me, and probably a lot of people don't know who Matt Goss is, but we'll skip over that at the moment. Okay, let's learn a little bit more about James Leese. Tell me about you, your background, and how you ended up where you are today.
Sure. So, veteran of the automotive space probably is a way of describing me. So, been in the automotive industry, pretty much man and boy. Started by selling cars at a Ford dealership locally to me. Then started my own website design business and developing some websites for some local dealers. That grew and developed. Then I went to work for a business called Second Bite, doing similar things, but with car manufacturers. And then they got bought out by Auto Trader. I then joined Mannheim, which is where I first met you and the team at Imperial. Was there for 16 years, left there as Chief Customer Officer for Cox Automotive Europe, going through multiple areas in that business, so understanding all about the automotive landscapes, and then decided to take some time out after 16 years. Was planning on playing a load more golf and enjoying myself, and literally, I think 2 months into it, got a tap on the shoulder by a guy called Ben Cooper, who's Managing Director for Impel outside of North America. He told me all about the Impel story and what they're looking to bring to the UK market. That really got my juices flowing because it's technology, it's automotive, markets I love very much. So it seemed like an opportunity I couldn't resist. And here I am 2 years later.
Brilliant. Yep. As you say, James, definitely a veteran of the industry. So look, as MD of Impel, tell us a little bit more about the history and current mission of the business.
So Impel started its journey probably 10 years ago now, a US-based business. They started out with the 2 founders, Michael and Devin, still involved in the business. Very entrepreneurial in their approach, always looking to solve problems. And one of the problems they saw in the US was as digital retailing was starting to grow, and outside of automotive, this was in the world of handbags and shoes and apparel in the US. They saw there was an opportunity to develop a solution that allowed you to see 360-degree imagery of all of these and spin them on the screen. So they developed a solution which was reasonably successful. One day, ladies looking online, handbag, shoes, and then over her shoulder, her husband has a look, who's a car dealer, and says, that would be brilliant if we could do that for cars. He got in contact with them and they developed the spin car solution. So now solely automotive, 10 years further down the road now, that has progressed from helping the dealers solve these challenges and with digital retailing and really trying to engage the consumer at the front end, to then starting looking at other problems that dealers were having around lead nurturing, managing these leads, all this money they're spending on generating inquiries, digital inquiries. How do they actually nurture them and bring them through a journey? So that's when they started looking at conversational AI solutions. So this was back in 2019. So before things like ChatGPT, OpenAI came along, we were actually involved in developing these solutions. So then developed those solutions. That came in and solved a problem for dealers where it was about nurturing leads, bringing these customers on a journey, then handing them off to the human at the appropriate time, either booking in an appointment or handing off to a human to have a conversation. That then progressed from sales into service. There's an outreach now to service customers and keep them in the loop and bring them back into the business for servicing opportunities. That then has developed through customers saying, we've got a problem, can you help us? Looking at car buying. So again, big area where people are just looking for valuations. Actually, how do you really understand who's really interested in selling the car and how do you bring them into the business? We've got our online chat solutions as well now. And really starting to look at that whole ecosystem for the dealers and how they can bring AI in, conversational generative AI, to really help nurture and manage their customers and let their people do what they're really good at, which is direct conversations, test drives, handovers, etc.
Yeah. And look, I think I first became aware of SpinCar probably 2019. I think we were doing some work with the guys in the States at that point, and that was around some of the digital remarketing services they were sort of piloting at the time, carousels with spec against the vehicles, just trying to get customers back to the website once they visited there. So it was quite interesting. Then we were involved in a couple of pilots, and back then Ben was just into the business, I think, so I was dealing with Ben, and we also started to look at 2020. Pre-COVID was probably when some of that conversational stuff started to come through, but we never got an opportunity to look at that properly. I got to see it in 2021, and it was clear that there were definite benefits from looking at that sort of technology, especially with some of the dealers I work with now, even today, leads coming into the business that aren't being given the necessary attention. And we all know, at Imperial, we were generating 18,000 leads a month with the best will in the world. Some of those were not getting dealt with in the best way that they could have been because our teams were dealing with customers walking into site, other issues, bits and pieces that would be cropping up. So, I've certainly seen the way, and having been involved in setting up one of the car buying services you were talking about last year and getting Impel into that journey, how it can help triage that volume of leads at the front and get customers to a point where they're committed to be able to then handle over to that physical member of staff. I think for me, the other value was, and again, it's something that we at Imperial were particularly bad at, which is if the sales executive tried to contact the customer twice, that was enough. At least with Impel, what it does is, I think, is it over 51 days? It tries 17 times potentially to get that customer back into a conversation. So certainly value there.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you'd hit the nail on the head there, Neil. We actually ran a mystery shop into the UK market, and we went out to 198 dealers, I think it was, and we submitted a lead on Auto Trader and through their website. 3 simple questions: can you tell me how many owners has a car had? Do you do home delivery? Are you up for a deal? And then just sat back to see what would happen. And on average, it was 90 minutes before we even got a response, and that's inside business hours. And then when we did get a response, it tended to be, they'd just go, it's had 3 owners. Do you want to come in and test drive it? Which goes to that point. They're trying to take me out of market, which I get.
Yeah.
But as a consumer, you're not answering my questions. And then we actually then deliberately didn't respond to their response to see how long they nurtured us for. And to your point there, on average, after two attempts, they forgot about us. We never heard from them again. You may get the odd marketing message flow through, a few weeks later, but no real attempt to sort of reach out to us. So they're absolutely an opportunity in that space we've seen.
Yeah. So considering that piece and some of the other technology you're putting out there now, how do you see these offerings address some of the current challenges in the industry? We're experiencing all the finance challenges that are around the submission of finance and making sure that the compliance elements are covered and being able to address those issues that are currently servicing. The stock sourcing, availability of stock. I'm pretty certain there's probably a hell of a lot of areas that are currently challenges for dealers that you're able to support.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, one thing, we have some really strong values at at Impel, and one of those is about relationships and staying really close to our customers and building a trusted advisor type relationship. So actually understanding their challenges and how we can help them are really important. And if you look at right now in the automotive industry, is you've got so many headwinds going on. I mean, we thought COVID was a big problem when it hit. Actually, go back to it now, and I think a lot of businesses are saying, actually, I'd like my profitability and my revenue to be as it was in COVID again, please. I think you think about all of these headwinds, it's actually now how can you utilize technology to help you to deliver value back to your customers, which ultimately means that they're going to then hopefully come and buy cars from you or extend servicing programs, etc. And actually, how do you do that with technology that then gives you that return on investment? I think one thing I've said before is that generating return on investment is hugely important for our customers and for us. So every pound you spend with us, we need to make sure you get multiples of that back. Some of that's easy to measure because if you can say actually utilizing technology is helping you generate more opportunities to do business, whether that's buying a car or selling a car, by nurturing it, answering the customer's questions, importantly, dealing with the customer outside of traditional business hours, because the AI doesn't sleep. It's always there to answer questions. And we see 50% of customer interaction now digitally happening outside of traditional business hours, which at the moment, if you don't have some form of technology in place to sort of support that, the best you're going to give your customer is a thanks very much for your inquiry. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Now with technology, actually that conversation can happen at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And actually that customer then is actually booked in to test drive that car tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, when the other dealer would only just be picking up the phone to have a conversation with them. So actually there's return on investment for our customers there, which is helping them with sell more cars, improving their opportunities to sell cars and other products. I think that then there's the bit around efficiency. So how do we help you do more with less? How do you let technology take that strain away, release that resource into other key areas in your business, which are the high value tasks like test drives, handovers, prospecting, spending more time on the phone. What we see is when we start looking at the data and when say our AI is engaged, what it does do is we see a massive uptick in the amount of phone calls those dealers are making. Because one, we're nurturing the lead and then handing it off to the dealer to speak to them. And two, because they've now got more time because they're not having to deal with emails and text messages and all of those things. And then the other one is customer success. So we know that if we deliver a great experience for our customer's customer, they're more likely to carry on and buy a car and all of those elements. So making sure we're delivering good quality information, the right information to a customer at the time they want it and in the format that they want it. So those are the key things that keep us, continually focused on how we can support and help our customers.
Yeah. And look, a lot of the stuff I'll do with dealers, probably around sort of mid-sized dealers at the moment, is looking at that lost opportunity cost to a dealer. Okay. So, they may be generating a number of leads into the business that would allow them to do the stock turn they're looking for, but they're just not managing those right. In some cases, they don't know how many leads they are getting still today. It's something that sometimes is just not measured and monitored. And it's around looking at that and saying to a dealer, I'll say to a dealer, look, you don't need to be considering spending more on marketing. You need to be more efficient in what you're doing and handling those opportunities you've got, and not discarding those opportunities quickly because an auto trader lead comes in, and the one you just got from Car Gurus, for example, you'll think I'll put that to one side and won't deal with it. So I think everything you're saying and what I've seen from AI, and look, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of AI thrown around now, and not a lot of it is true AI, but certainly AI has got a place in triaging, managing, qualifying those leads and making more of the marketing spend and that ROI that is being pushed out there.
That's such an important point now. Is we've actually, we're going through a process now where our AI solutions now have been entrenched in various car dealers in the UK market for over 12 months now. And we're starting to see some really interesting insight and data that's coming back out of those conversations and how it's impacting their business. And one statement from one of our customers, which we will be releasing in a case study, they've actually said, since we've now got the AI, we're now more comfortable spending more on advertising because they know every lead is being followed up. And we've got other people saying, actually, I don't need, to your point, I don't need to invest more because I'm already generating 5,000 leads a month. I'm actually only bringing X amount of % of those into an appointment. How do I nurture them? And actually the AI absolutely does all of that for them. And the other point that's interesting as well is because you referenced there about auto trader leads. A lot of dealers will as soon as they get an auto trader lead in, they're on it straight away. But there are other sources of leads. They go, I'll leave that one. I'll leave that one. They're making decisions based upon perhaps previous experience that says that lead won't be as good as this one, and I want to get to that sale as soon as possible. I'm probably have to work really hard to generate that lead into an appointment. I can't be asked to do it. Actually, we're seeing now with some of those other lead sources are actually generating really good levels of opportunity to do business. You've just got to nurture them a bit more because they're not perhaps as far down the buying cycle as the person on Auto Trader is.
Yeah, totally. And look, we last couple of years at Imperial, we did a lot of work on this, and we knew that an auto trader lead had the propensity to convert 2.5 times better than a Google AdWords PPC lead. But the Google AdWords PPC lead was significantly less cost, but it did need additional work to convert it. Back then, we didn't have tools like that available to us. So typically then it meant just spending more and more on those easy to convert channels rather than working the long tail of those leads that were coming in, because we would have had to employ a significant amount more people in our contact center.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, 100%. And that's why I think that also we've seen a good opportunity. And I will give a shout out here. We've just been nominated for Product of the Year or New Product of the Year for the AM Awards for our car buying, right? Because that again was an area where people, especially if they're moving into car buying in a reasonable size, actually it is about, I need bums on seats now to deal with these and find out, which ones are just valuations, which ones are, and that's a very costly thing to do. So again, if you can have the nurturing experience with AI, and I think the important bit here is that it's got to be in a way that that consumer at the other end engages with it and it's a good conversation to be having.
Yeah.
Because you can put technology in sometimes that doesn't make it any easier or better for the end user, but it makes it better for your business. So you think it's benefit to you, but the end user's going, this is frustrating. Good example of that are some of the original chatbots we saw, a couple of years ago. Some are still in market today, where actually you put a chatbot on there, but actually all it's trying to do is just generate leads. So actually you go on it and go, oh yes, I've got a question, right? Give me your name, telephone number, and email address, and I'll answer it. Well, I don't want to do that. I just want an answer to my question. So sometimes you have to think about it from the end user's perspective on how they want to use the technology that then brings them on the journey. And eventually, it's a bit like an exchange, isn't it? I'll exchange some information to you. Now, can you exchange some information back to me rather than me just go, I'm not going to tell you anything until you tell me all about yourself. Well,
yeah, look, you're dead right. And some of the chat bots that exist today are still doing that. I think the ones that really frustrate me are when you go onto a utility company website and you're trying desperately to chat to somebody live, and the chat bot's just pushing you down different routes and giving you no answers and no. Within about 10 minutes, I've been, well, maybe not 10 minutes, 2 minutes, I've been out of the conversation because I can't get the answer I'm looking for. And this is where this AI conversational piece and that exchange of information is really important.
yeah,
That's right, Cameron.
we get asked some questions from customers and prospects alike that say, are you open with telling people this is AI? Because to be fair, and you've seen some of the conversations the AI will generate, you don't know it's not, you wouldn't know it's a human. In fact, you may think it's not a human because actually the conversation is so good and they're showing empathy and everything else, which sometimes us as humans don't. But they say, oh, are you open about saying this is AI? Now, at the moment, it's the customer's choice on whether they say this is a sales assistant, this is an AI assistant, whatever it is. But what we're seeing is when we speak to the consumers about it, is a lot of them are saying, I don't really mind whether I'm talking to AI or not, as long as I get the information that I need and in the right format and in a timely manner. I quite happily to your point there, you quite happily use that chatbot on the front of their website. If it got you to a point of saying, can you sort out my bill on my waters, please, because it's not right, or whatever it is. But when you don't, and you just get to that dead end, you then go, this is so frustrating.
Yeah, no, definitely. So look, coming to the end of our time, James. So in conclusion, whether it's supporting a shopper as they search for the perfect vehicle, scheduling the next service appointment for a customer, or helping a consumer sell or trade in their vehicle, Impel AI is with the vehicle retailer every step of the way. And I can see that, and I've seen that over the past few years dealing with you guys and dealing with dealers who are looking to get on that journey. So it only remains for me to say that I've really enjoyed our chat today, and thank you for taking the time to take us through the services that Impel is able to provide. Now, before I let you go, though, James, we need to clear up the icebreaker question for our viewers. So, which of the three interesting facts was in fact false?
The one that is actually false is that I played golf with Nick Faldo and beat him. I did neither of those things. The other ones I did, which all involved alcohol. But
well, and yeah, well, we won't. Yeah, I was going to say rightly so. Probably not the right comment to make there, though. So I'll rescind that comment. So look, thanks again, James, for your time today. For more information about Impel, visit the website www.impelai or message James on LinkedIn. Thank you for watching, and a quick reminder that here at Motorvait, we offer 1 hour remote one-to-one dealer discovery sessions for free. To learn more about these sessions and why you should book one, please visit our website www.motorvait.co.uk. Goodbye for now.